So we're going to do something for our next segment a little bit different. We had originally planned on having Dr. Higgins deliver an address, but as he and I worked through details of the event, we realized that it would feel better if we could sit and have a one-on-one conversation, really talk about the district, the foundation, how the foundation supports the Maize School District. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Chad Higgins, Superintendent of Maize Public Schools. Dr. Higgins, thanks for joining us. It's been quite a year.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. It's nice to get to this point of the year for sure. I feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Typically, this time in the spring, we're looking forward to summer. We're looking forward to all the exciting things in the spring, but this year probably more than ever before. Also want to thank you for having some of our students participate in this event. I think it's, I get choked up. Those two young ladies did a terrific job, and it's fun to show off all of the things going on in our district. But when you can show off, our kids can show off who they are and what they're learning and so forth. It's even better. But I also thank you and the foundation for pulling this thing together. It's I think the first big one we had a couple of years ago was such a cool event and something we were really looking forward to, even right after that event was over. And like a lot of things, COVID has thrown us for a loop, but it takes a lot to pull something like this together and do it very differently. But appreciate that because, like you mentioned before, the fundraising piece of this allows the foundation to help us as a partner with you all help meet the needs of students and staff.
As an organization, we try to align our work, our mission, our objectives, our programs with the needs of the district. And obviously, COVID has shown a light on how needs can change in a hot minute. But even over the 3 years that I've been with the organization, I think I've seen a slight evolution of needs and how some things have changed. What needs do you see changing or have changed, and how do you envision or how do you hope that the foundation and the district can partner together to meet those needs?
So I think in some cases the needs aren't related to COVID. In some cases they are. They were there before, and COVID may have exposed them or made them more significant. But I think we're seeing in our community, and probably all communities across the state and country, we have kids and families, even staff that are in crisis, whether it's mental health, whether it's poverty, could even be short-term financial challenges. Self-management for kids and adults has become a real issue. We got into some bad habits, working remotely or learning remotely or what have you. And then of course relationships. I think we've seen some real division created, again, not just locally, but across the state and across the country. And I think it sounds like a tall order for an education foundation, but you eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I think if we can start in our community and our school helping with those things, it'll be significant. I think the foundation also supports our kids and our staff by creating opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise, by letting students explore different things, and allows teachers write grants and they get to experience, try, test new things out that maybe they wouldn't have had the opportunity to without the foundation support. And I think also and I'll talk a little bit later about the value of a network, of an overall school community. But I think the foundation can help support that, can help connect different entities in the school community and strengthen that network, kind of be a communication tool or a relationship builder or what have you. So I think the possibilities for a foundation in a school community are endless.
I think last fall was a really good example of how engaged our parent community is, and the community that rallied around showing our staff support. Just it really moved me. It made me feel, even in the midst of all of that, very happy and excited to know that that it's there, and I'm so grateful for all of the support that they that everyone joined together and showed, for sure.
This is an amazing place to work, to learn, to teach, to live. I think our school and our community have a great reputation, and I think it's very deserving. It's been, growing and building. It was established, long before either of us, and I think it's our obligation to continue that. But I mentioned before, I use the term a lot. It's the school community. It's really hard to describe the dynamic that exists, whether it's a small rural community in a school or a suburb like ours or an urban school. But there's this, again, what I call a school community, because neither can exist independently. Our school, our staff, our kids need our greater community. We need their support, their expertise, their help, their encouragement, and likewise, they need us to be successful, to help raise the kid. It takes a village, so to speak. So the stronger that those two entities work together, the less separate they are, the more successful we will all be, the more successful our young people will be as they transition to adults. This network, this interconnectedness includes the foundation. It includes PTOs and booster clubs and site councils, businesses and industry, again, locally or even a little further out. It includes our alumni, our Board of Education, our teachers, elected officials, and our post-secondary institutions can also be a part of that. I think how each interact with each other, how those interact with us, and vice versa is significant. And I think the foundation can be, again, like I mentioned before, can be kind of that portal or that piece that helps connect, helps students find this passion that's outside of the school that maybe we can't expose them to, or helps a teacher connect with a business or industry partner that can add a little bit more expertise to their instruction and light a fire under kids and so forth. So those are the things I get excited about. If you can't tell, I love this concept of, we're all in this together, and it takes a village. It can't be entirely, a teacher or a principal or a school board's responsibility, but everybody has to help. And like any other family or any other group, we don't always agree or see eye to eye. But if we keep our focus on the right thing, we end up getting where we need to be.
I think you make some good points there. I know that as I've worked on reaching out and building and establishing relationships with various members of the community, whether the Maize smaller area or the greater Wichita area communities, conversations sometimes are focused on fundraising and supporting the district that way. But a lot of conversations come to the table in the form of what kinds of partnerships are possible in terms of, I even think about the Skybus, the Airbus flying challenge, with the Career Academy and how many opportunities there are like that to have. And, so I think you're very right in that it's not a single prong, for us. And I feel a certain connection with Dr. King and even some of her vision there and some of the work that's being done to help facilitate job shadowing and internship opportunities for our students to even ask questions and pick the brains of professionals in fields that they may have an interest in. So I think that's very true. And as I've even learned, in my short time here, I'm not an educator by training. So I've learned about STEAM and STEM, and Dr. Dooling has certainly helped shine a light on even some of that for me, and just even understanding how sometimes it's about letting students really navigate their path, and it's about discovery and not necessarily about rigid instruction all the time. And it just kind of something resonated with me in that, and that's the idea of what if. Allowing us to say, what if, what if I stack these blocks this way? Well, what will happen? What if I mix these colors? What will I get? And I think of that when I talk to a lot of the educators and encourage them to apply for challenge grants. I know that they sit in their department meetings and say, well, what if we had this, or what if we did that? So I definitely think about that a lot. And I guess, do you have it's a question for you, I guess. Do you have any what ifs, dreams that we can partner with you on?
First of all, I don't know that everybody understands kind of how the transition or expansion of the grants in the foundation got to where they are as challenge grants, or years before, teachers or staff would win a grant, and to some extent we'd have a principal or a district office administrator, somebody would say, gosh, had I known they were writing that grant or that thing was coming, we could have expanded it more, or the district could have partnered in some funding piece, or we could have made it bigger, we could have made it better, and so forth. So that we kind of revamped that process. So we can also ask the question, what if? How can we make this grant, this idea that a teacher came up with, or another staff member, a nurse in our community came up with, how can we make it better? How can we make it scalable? And so we use the phrase "what if" quite a bit in our leadership meetings. You almost have to have in any committee, in any strategic planning work, you have to have a what if or a why person. Like, why do we always do it this way? Is there a better way to do this thing? And if it's because we've always done it that way, then let's start talking about what if. And certainly COVID has forced us to do that. I had some great conversations with some of the teachers last spring, who said, I was forced to create these video lessons, these digital activities that I never would have otherwise. And I'm so much better of a teacher because of it. I can incorporate that in the future into lessons when I can't be there. I have to be absent and have a substitute teacher. We won't miss as many beats for one reason or another. So I think what if is and why has always got to be a part of the conversation. I think about these gorgeous facilities we're constructing to open schools next year in this natatorium facility. We put a committee team together of various different experiences and ideas and interests. And none of these things really were what we had anticipated as a superintendent, as district leaders, board members. It wasn't necessarily our idea, but it's the culmination of a bunch of ideas that are going to be result in something pretty amazing. But so sorry, kind of back to your question. I think these grants can provide things for students and teachers. Tools, technology for students and teachers that may help them expand their knowledge or their expertise, or help them take another step, or learn something that they want to continue taking further. Or maybe they'll use that tool or that opportunity, that thing, to realize this isn't maybe something they're interested in long term, or something can't be done quite the way they thought. But I also want to think about grants as creating experiences or opportunities, camps and internships, field trip kinds of things, to expose kids or even teachers to industries or things that they wouldn't have experienced otherwise. I think grants can provide speakers to come in, or industry experts to come in and enhance lessons or activities, answer questions that maybe we can't answer. I think about events too, opportunities for kids or a class to observe or experience a rocket launch, or experience a Broadway musical, or the ocean. I think of things. I grew up in a small town. We didn't grow up with a whole lot of money, so I experienced a lot of things for the first time as an adult. And every time I experienced those things, I thought, I'm so far behind. I felt like a little kid, and wish I would have had those opportunities when I was younger. So I'm always interested in finding a way to give, every kid, and again, every teacher too, because many of our teachers, have been teaching the same thing and not the same way necessarily, but seeing what's going on, experiencing what's going on outside of the classroom, I think is incredibly valuable. And again, I think those grant opportunities, those experiences help create and strengthen those connections between our school and our bigger community. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's great. That's why we have you here with us today. That said, I think we have time for just one more question with you. Let me wrap up our time by asking, is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience today as we near the end of this school year?
Really two big things, I think, and then if there's any Q&A, we can do that. I think maybe there's a question, but I think one of the biggest things is find a way to help our school and community heal from the wounds that were created this past year. Not just some division that was created, differences of opinions and so forth, but we have kids and adults that are in crisis right now, and we have to find the support, the personnel, the strategies to get them the help they need, so we can recover from this. And then the other piece I think that we need to do is not just hurry to get back to the old normal, not get back into a rut or not back into what's comfortable, but take everything we've learned from this experience to make ourselves, our school, our community, our policies, our practices, how we treat one another better. So those are, I think, the two big things that I think we as a school and as a community and foundation can partner in doing.
Great. So there was one question submitted. You may have touched on some of this already. It's kind of two parts. How can businesses be helpful to the district, to teachers and students? How can businesses engage with the district in ways that will be most impactful and meaningful?
Yeah, that's a good question, Ben. That's pretty broad. It's always a challenge. It's this thing also. We have a community that does have the resources financially. If we can create the thing that they want to contribute to. We have people in our community who want to volunteer, but volunteers are difficult to navigate. Time-wise and schedule and consistency and so forth. But, I don't know that we need to start another committee necessarily, but I think a focused effort on Ben's question on how can we create this connection. I was lucky enough to serve on a Project Wichita strategic planning team, and I'm also on the Business Education Alliance. And through those two things, right before COVID hit, we were getting ready to expand that, and that was really our focus: is how can we connect our kids and our teachers with our business and industry to learn more about each other, and to some extent, look at expanding ways for kids to learn and get we have some internships, we have those experiences, but my vision long term is that our juniors and seniors can spend a significant time of their learning day outside of our school, learning in different arenas, and in their interest areas, learning what they want to do, what they're passionate about, maybe before they spend a year or two in college, and then find out that's not necessarily what they want to do. So sorry, I'm kind of all over the board. I wasn't. Anyway,
no, I think that's great. And I think there are certainly things in the works, just even hints of conversations that I've been able to have with Dr. King over at the Career Academy, and even Dr. Skelton with special ed and other ways that we've already kind of started ideating on different ways to engage our area business community. So I think that there are certainly more conversations that can come up and we can address some of those ideas. So Dr. Higgins, thank you. I appreciate your time today and everything that you do for the district. So thanks for joining us.
I very much appreciate you and the foundation board.
Thank you.